If my board does not mind, we have gentlemen here for the Arts for Lawrence. They're going to talk. I have a presentation here on the Lilly grant, so I said we could bump them to the front of the line, and they have a presentation. So, gentlemen, the floor is yours.
All right. We were solving the world's problems.
That's all right. See?
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm Bruce Hugon. I'm a Lawrence resident, live right over here on the Loop. I'm also on the board of Arts for Lawrence. I'm here today with Andrew Lee, who's our board president, and our executive director, Judy Byron, is out of the country and asked us to come here to talk with you this evening. About what? I am here to ask this board to work with Arts for Lawrence to develop the Sterrett Center into a publicly programmed venue, and on a very short time frame. Why? This relationship between Arts for Lawrence and the Parks Department is a very important piece of a concept that a number of folks have been working on very hard the last few months. Let me give you a bit more background. Just a few short months ago, early January of 2018, Lilly Endowment announced its program called Strengthening Indianapolis Through Arts and Cultural Innovation Initiative. They have $25 million they want to give out to entities in Marion County. Any one request can range from $7,500 to $10 million. And the purpose of the initiative, in Lilly Endowment's words, is encouraging ideas that uplift the unique and important role that arts and culture organizations and projects play in building strong communities. All right, so January of 18, they announced this initiative. They're holding information sessions into February. Judy Byron, our executive director, and Cam Barnes, the city's director of economic development, attended one of these sessions, and it became apparent that we ought to try to go after some of this money. So the City of Lawrence and Arts for Lawrence have teamed up. The City of Lawrence is the applicant, but under the guidelines of the Lilly Endowment Initiative, there has to be a 501c3 charitable organization with arts and culture as its focus as part of the mix, and that's where we come in. Right? That's us. So, but the deadline for the initial concept paper was March 30th. So in just 2 months' time, in February and March, AFL brought together a team. The city, Eric Martin, Cam Starnes, Fort Harrison Reuse Authority, Schneider Corporation, which has its offices, right over here, just off the Loop, on Otis Avenue. Context Design, that's a landscape architect firm. They're currently based in Fortville, but I think we're going to hear an announcement, perhaps as early as next week at the reuse meeting, that a deal has finally been struck for Context to redevelop the PX building, which is one of the last few remaining historic structures on the Loop that hasn't been repurposed, and the Context folks have been very much part of this. And Ed Watson, Midwest Studios, he's been one of the partners, and there are others as well. So in that 2-month time, we put together a design, we came up with cost information, and that resulted in the concept paper that is part of the packet before each of you. That's a 7 or 8 page document. That's what we submitted to Lilly on March 30. Also, at that same time, we submitted letters of support. We have the support of the Greater Lawrence Chamber of Commerce, the Glick Foundation, Indiana Landmarks, the Fort Harrison Reuse Authority, Heartland Film, and Lawrence Township Schools. So, we put together a request totaling $8.85 million. And I certainly don't expect you to digest the concept paper in the 10 minutes that I'm going to be here in front of you, but I wanted you to have it so you can refer to it on your own time. But I would like to show you a brief 90-second video that we submitted in connection with our application that I think gives you an overview of what we're proposing. Are there lights we could hit? All or at least just the front ones here?
Switch somewhere.
Yeah, I didn't know which ones. Good enough, good enough. So this is, let's see if you guys think this is as cool as we do. Very cool. All right, so we submitted all that, and we're calling this a cultural campus. And at the heart of the campus are the only historic buildings, only historic Fort Harrison structures still being used for their originally intended purposes. That's the theater at the fort that AFL is operating, and the Sterrett Center that your board operates. So after that intense 2 months, we waited, and on May 16, we were notified that from Lilly Endowment that we made the first cut. And one of the pieces of paper in your packet is the email from Lilly Endowment. And there were 226 applications totaling $354 million going after this $25 million. And we're down to 25 applicants with projects totaling about $91 million. So, made the top 10%. So, but I need to give you a little more detail on the time frame. So March 30 was just our deadline for a concept paper. And then, so now we've made this first cut. And just 12 days ago, we had a feedback session with Lilly Endowment. Mayor Collier, Cam Starnes, representatives of our organization, readers, and context, met with the Lilly Endowment people. We got feedback on our concept. And now we need to prepare a full-blown grant application, and that's due by August 15. So we have a summer project. The final determinations by Lilly will be made by the end of 2018 and groundbreaking in 2019. So folks, this is a big deal. And which brings me back to my ask of you. Arts for Lawrence and the City of Lawrence Parks and Recreation need to put together a memorandum of understanding as to the shared use of the Sterrett Center. Parks Department's master plan and Arts for Lawrence's strategic plan have overlapping goals. Arts for Lawrence has a strong track record of building mutually beneficial partnerships, and we believe this partnership could be a tremendous asset to the city. But in order for Lilly Endowment to see the cultural campus as a viable concept, the Sterrett Center needs to be developed into a publicly programmed venue. And we'd like to help the Parks Department with that transition. We understand all too well the need for revenue to sustain a public building. I mean, we're operating the theater at the fort. I mean, we depend on grants and public support. And we're open and eager to the planning of both free and revenue-based programming in partnership with the Parks Department. And when there's no public programming, the Sterrett Center would continue to, with its rental agreements and generating revenue. And we think revenue will likely increase as a result of the public program and the increased visibility, and while helping the community as a whole. So among the documents in front of you is a very rough draft of an outline of a proposed memorandum of understanding. And again, our ask in our short time frame is this: we need, some subset of your board, perhaps, your board chair, Mr. Vest, and Eric, to meet with our executive director, Judy Byron, who will be back and in the office next Tuesday, June 19th, and sit down and get down to brass tacks, hammer out the details. And I think what I would be hopeful of is that you folks could prepare a resolution and vote on it at your July meeting, so that we can demonstrate to Lilly Endowment in our filing on August 15 that we have an agreement in place which will be supportive of the cultural campus concept if they fund it. Now, understand that Lilly is asking us to prioritize the various concepts contained in this $8.85 million. But the core of the concept revolves around the theater and the Sterrett Center. So even if our concept is only partially funded, a memorandum of understanding is still needed, because that's going to be a vital piece of the project, because the Sterrett Center and the theater are at the core of it. And even if it's not funded at all, we have a plan now. We'll seek future grants to do things, to put this together in stages. But the Sterrett Center and cooperation between Arts for Lawrence and the city's Parks and Recreation Board and Department will remain vital concepts at the core of that plan. So we look forward to working with you. I thank you for your time and attention, and certainly be glad to try to field any questions you might have. I know it's a lot to digest. I was glad to see that, I know Eric has mentioned this project in your February, March, April meetings. I haven't seen the minutes from last month's meeting, but so I know you're aware that this has been out there, but now we're getting down to it.
I've got ideas in my fuzzy head that I'd like to chat with Eric about. First off, I'm 110% behind this. For as long as we've had a park system in the city of Lawrence, our priorities have been ball fields and 4th of July celebration and, Easter egg hunt and, October type of festival. We kind of broaden out with farmers market and the like. But this is a big, big undertaking that, and I know forever, I was on the reuse authority for the first 6 years. Huh. And it's gotten to the point now where, yes, it's built out. We want people to come into the city of Lawrence, do business, see what we have, and put down roots. And you've missed some of my rants and raves before I've had in here. Quality of life of a city is not based on how many policemen you have. It's based on the quality of life that you have in a city that works hand in hand with, safety. I think safety can be predicated by these. This isn't an intangible, this is a tangible component of what a good community can be. I just got tons of things running through my head here, how this kind of envisions this. But you need something by July at the earliest.
I did see you actually have a meeting August 8, I believe. Which,
right.
Is a week before this is due.
I like that.
Everything else was on a tight deadline. If it ends up being August, we'll just cringe a little bit, but
Possibly.
Certainly that's the outside date.
Possibly, maybe, this is one of these singletons that if the city side of it could come up with something to share with you, we can convene even a special session if we have to push this down the pike.
Well, certainly the city is supportive. The city is the applicant.
I see opportunities here abounding. I really do.
And it's not a, build it and they will come. We already have programming in place. We do this. But this is going to be on a much larger scale. Part of our ask of Lily is to assist with additional staff persons to help us with the programming, because you just can't, do something like this without having, the people in place to actually run it. So, there are lots of moving parts here. But it does appear that the stars might be aligning, and you folks are an important piece of this puzzle.
Not, I'm just throwing this out, it might be in our working document there. If Lily, I don't even know how the process works, and this is a question here, if Lily were to come back and be able to offer half what you asked for.
Well, and that's why I made a point of saying that the core of the culture campus is the theater, the Starrett Center, the land the city already owns immediately north of that, which is basically a parking lot.
Right.
Okay, that would be the core. So if we we are actually, I'm getting a little ahead of myself, because one of the things we are now doing in response to our feedback session with Lily is to among the partners, determine what our priorities would be. So I can't represent that the group has said, that what I'm representing to you is what the result of our survey will be among our group, and I'm 99.9% certain on that. So, but one of the things Judy Byron does have some level of sophistication in these matters, and one of the things she kind of heard between the lines is Arts for Lawrence and the city, you are hearing from us that we're interested in your plan. You now perhaps should go to other grantors and say, now Lily's behind this, but we may not get 100% of funding. Can you? Is there a part of this plan that you're particularly interested in that you might
sell it as get on board before this train leaves the station?
And so
that's okay.
And that's all going to be happening in a very short period of time here. But yeah, those are the kind of. But I do believe that in part of in looking at the paper, the concept paper, a good bit of our ask is for some very significant capital improvements to the Starrett Center. And to the theater. So I mean, it will make it into a nicer place for those revenue generating aspects.
That's one of our big priorities too, is to get some, like I said, some vastly needed physical improvements. Yes.
So,
well, the thing about if no one, my colleagues.
I have one or two
Go ahead.
questions. One would be kind of between you and Eric. Where would your office still be in the Stewart Center? Where would you end up if we went with this?
Presumably so until,
Okay.
the idea would be doing programming within the building on those times that we don't have scheduled events, or in a cooperative fashion where, again, where possibilities for funding include revenue production. But yes, our idea is to stay there, so.
Well, I only ask because this kind of times out with the new station, the police stations. It'll be office space, I assume, open here.
I think there's discussion of utilities coming back to the building here, so we're not in that mix so far, and I appreciate being
I was going to say, don't make eye
Appreciate
contact
this.
with a
Little
cat.
autonomy.
Last thing you want to do.
They're talking about revenue. You cost more.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, is anybody, I would not mind working with Eric and the Arts for Lawrence folks to try to move this forward.
President Vest for that job.
Okay. 'Cause it
You
seems
accept
that-
volunteers?
Yes, I'll
This would
volunteer.
dovetail well with some of the activities with the school board
That'd be great.
is doing. So I enjoy hearing more about it.
I would ask, though, if there's once you read through your packets and read the draft documents,
MOU draft.
any suggestions?
You've got these three working.
I don't have time.
Well,
busy.
I think that'll be,
But you could,
that'll be enough of you, won't it? I mean, or if you need extra people, fine, but there's no point in us,
Oh, that's true, yeah.
I mean,
But if you have any question or any suggestions, I would ask you to
Okay.
send them to Jeff and I, and we'll,
I do, and I will.
okay.
Well, let's try to make it, now, what's your, it's August,
I didn't want to leave you out.
August 15 is,
drop dead.
they
I
don't
hate to
just
use
say
it that way.
August 15, they say August 15 at noon. You know, if you stumble on your way up the steps at 11:59, it's a problem.
Get the form in, you can break, the neck will heal. Well, we're gonna do our darn to see if we can move this forward with you, because this is a win-win
deal.
all the way around.
You know,
I'm
this could
excited.
be a really big deal for the city of Lawrence.
I guess when Judy
community.
gets back, we can just make an appointment
Yeah.
that next week sometime.
Yeah,
You're out
I'm
now,
fine,
so,
yeah.
And,
Can I just ask one last, just a detailed question? Just from your presentation, it showed the underground water tank. Is that coming out and then something being built there? I didn't-
Well, you know, that is one of the perhaps more out there aspects of our plan, but there is a 2,600 square foot cistern buried
Damn.
on Ed
have to
Watson's
say that.
property. And what we're proposing is to excavate it,
Uh-huh.
expose one side of it, replace the cement wall with glass, and then be able to, and you know, get HVAC in there, and then be able to have permanent displays of art that can be there without concerns about weather. Whereas the sculptural garden going up to that will be art that will be outside and whatnot. But that particular spot would be an art installation that, you know,
Okay.
and be of a different nature because it will be protected from the elements.
Oh, nice.
Huh. I've lived here all 55 years of my life. I never thought Lawrence and Judith, we've been around a while, haven't we, Tom? Never thought Lawrence would be shooting to be an arts bastion.
Cultural Center.
Yes, and I can speak for Mayor Collier. He's lived out here about as long as I have. I don't think he would have ventured to think that it's a quality of life issue.
Well,
Can't put a price on it.
it does sound like you and our executive director, Judy Byron, are kind of cut from the same cloth, so I look forward to you guys getting together and
It'll be
hammering out
fun.
some details.
Well, thank you very much. We're gonna
Thank you all very
See
much.
if we can make this
This
happen.
presentation.
Oh,
Is this available on your website? Or,
It is not. I could send you a link to it,
yeah, if you don't
'cause
mind.
I've watched it 10, 12 times, and I'm not tired of it.
You can
Yeah, maybe if you send it to Eric, you can shoot it.
well, I think I do.
You have it?
You have
Okay.
it, you should have it.
I should, but if you'll send it to me again.
I can
Bruce,
make
and
your
I'll-
life easier by getting right to it. and
Yeah, I'll just,
And to be able to, that way it's easier to say, here, watch this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just hit the forward button.
deal.
all right,
Very
gang.
nice.
You can put up with my allergies here. I'm gonna start smoking. I already got the cough. So, all right, real quick, Miss D, where's Miss D again? In the
she
Panhandle?
is in, Panama City.
Oh, she is
Wonder what she's doing.
not taking minutes at her daggone June 13th Parks Board meeting. Eric,
Used
don't
to
screw
Skype
this up.
into this.
Yeah,
All right. I'd entertain a motion to, if there not being any additions, subtractions, retractions, or corrections from May, except the minutes of our last board meeting.
I moved.
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Report, Parks Director.
I'm doing my notes. Just briefly, I'll just kind of bring you up to speed on, July 4th is probably our primary concern. We do have parade applicants coming in, so it's not too late if you know somebody that still wants to get in. Our Lions Club Fish Fry will still take place from 11 to 8. We do have a car show this year. Sign-ups are at the park on the day of the event. I think registration starts at 7 a.m., goes through
Now, say day of the event, is that on the 4th?
on the 4th,
Okay.
yes. A gentleman by the name of Junior Anderson is running the show, and he's with it's called oldcars.com. I guess it's a group that puts on the car shows, and expects a pretty good turnout. We do have bands scheduled from 4 to 10 p.m., so,
Anything of note?
no, but we do have a mariachi band, which I think will be a lot of fun, actually.
Where are they going to be?
They'll be back on the backside of the sledding hill between the carnival and the sledding hill, on the east side of the sledding hill, with the stage
Okay.
kind of facing the sledding hill, so. Dave Pruitt, who did our sound and lights last year, is doing that again, and his band Shaken Not Stirred will perform. And we have the Wayne Watson Band, Rural Route 3, and
I can still.
mariachi band that I couldn't pronounce the name if I had it. With our eyes on the carnival, they'll be coming in on the 25th. They'll start on the 28th.
Okay.
I think it's a Wednesday, Thursday. And I'll just remind you that part of our agreement, we're going to cost share on the fencing around the carnival. So we'll have a perimeter fence around the carnival.
Okay.
Entrance or entries into the carnival will go through one way, and they have to actually pay to come into the, so there's an admission fee, or they have to buy tickets on the way in. They can't
Okay.
just come into the fair and
Wander around.
wander around, so there will be an admission
Okay.
cost to get in.
Okay.
And with the things that happened this past weekend, the police department will be there in full force, and we're also having 6 additional sheriffs, I guess, are going to help the evening of the July 4th around the carnival area, just to
Okay.
make sure we don't have
Okay.
any problems. And Jeff wanted me to mention this, and just as a public reminder, we do and have since about 2009 required security at all of our buildings, all of our functions, private functions, weddings, parties and things. Anytime there's more than 50 people, or if the event goes past 8 o'clock, they have to have security.
Okay.
And
That security is,
it's through Pete Mickle. It's reserve officers primarily,
Okay.
but there's some active officers that also, but it's primarily reserve officers. Same group that does the soccer
okay, tournament stuff?
security, yeah.
Okay.
And security on Sundays at the soccer event, but since we've incorporated that, and I've shared that information with the Lions Club too, and
Okay.
hopefully they'll get past that situation that happened there Saturday and
Right.
still allow public use of their building, but with a little tighter restrictions.
Eric, kind of tie it in with 4th of July, the issue with the sewer repair.
It won't be done by July 4th, and we're sure of that. We met with the carnival vendor last week. Superintendent Salisbury and I did, and we're moving everything, the carnival roughly 10 feet north, so we'll have a easement back to the work site on pavement, so.
Will they be working on it? I know not on the 4th, but will they be working on it on those days?
Those pumps have to run 24 hours a day. They have to fuel them twice a day.
Okay.
So the fuel trucks have to get back there. I don't know if they'll be working on the particular piping but they will be except that day, I would think.
Okay.
They might be.
Who's responsible for that repair?
It's Citizens Group is responsible for it.
Why is it taking so long? What do they say?
Well, I think a lot of it is just the unknowns. They're not sure what the problem is and how far they're gonna, what the.
They found the origins, where to start.
They have, yeah, it was at that relief valve. And the piece of pipe they took out just looks like Swiss cheese. It's a miracle it was holding anything. So the problem is that force main ducts underneath the ditch, and that So, as you can imagine, the fluid going through that pipe is that and the acids, I guess, the hydrochloric acid that's produced has compromised that piping. So if they sleeve it, then they've got to form the sleeve actually to fit inside that pipe, or if they have to do a new pipe, so they're weighing the odds, how far the damage is, and whether it's more cost effective to run new pipe or.
Just seems like an awfully long time.
It does. Oh,
Tom, you
You know, I'm just wondering if
Been
it
talking about a
went
while.
across private land, would it be taken?
yeah, would it be done quicker? That's exactly what I was thinking. Thinking of that ditch there, Eric and Tom, you got me. That thing is a death trap waiting to happen.
Yep.
when we met back there on
Damn.
last week, Scott Salisbury's going to see if they can find at least some temporary fencing just to mark, just for pedestrian traffic, to see if we can keep people out of there. But we're looking at alternatives, whether it's ballards or a fencing or something along there to, so our street department's looking at that, and also our utilities, so we know we've got to do something.
Eric, I have a question about that. We talked about this last meeting, about that ditch. Whose responsibility was it to design that first? Who do you point a finger at for that monstrosity?
Well, the way it's, well, when we got, when IDEM required us to go in there and do that excavation and pull all that out, bring it back to natural grade, Burke, I think it's Burke and Associates, or, anyway, it's an engineering firm that does specifically environmental engineering like that, did the plan for it.
I mean, that's Soviet era type
Well,
of.
did you
That
see
cannot possibly meet any,
the safety?
I just can't imagine any established company that works with streets, highways,
Well, they're,
putting a ditch like that next to that close to a road.
well, if IDEM had it their way, it would go back to the 90-degree angle that you know, that
Like a rock quarry.
that existed from the original ditch. But
That'd been better.
so actually, Poindexter said in their, when they were doing the grade work, they actually got a lot more of the angle out than what was intentionally. It was almost, I think it was a 1-to-1, so, you know, it was almost straight up and down.
Man, we got a ditch, but no safety net.
So it's, you know, whether, you know, maybe we'll have to put fencing around it just to,
And
but
I'm waiting now, when something does happen, when of you three are gonna volunteer here to be on that committee, okay? Because you know we'll have to form a committee.
We've had our say about that.
I know.
I mean, did you see the story about the guy that drove into I was just kind of a kid, I think, drove into the pond, he was dodging ducks or something? I mean, that's what I could see happening
Yeah.
there. Some kid runs out and you know, you have to swerve
One
against the
swerves
kid.
and then,
That's what I'd be most concerned about.
we'll have to have a committee meeting.
no, we'll just have to put something up. I don't want to be, I'd like to be as less intrusive looking as you can, but whether it's, you know, I don't want to put chain link fence, that's just
No.
more maintenance item for us. But,
Nothing else like a guardrail for vehicles.
It's just gotta be something
Well,
there.
we've had this discussion before about that street. It's a designated street through there, right? Correct? It still is. Nothing was ever happened that it's not still a designated street. It's a
It's-
thoroughfare.
my understanding, it's private,
Private.
it's owned by the Parks Department, it's not owned by the city, it's not a public street, it's a
That's not my I don't want to argue with you.
But I
No, I
don't
mean,
know.
that's not my intent, I don't want to sound like that. We had this discussion quite some time ago because we were told that was a street. And that was,
Yeah, on the inventory of, yes.
it is a street because generally parks are closed at certain time of night. And they're not thoroughfares, they're not streets, but that is a street, I'm pretty sure.
Would you say from,
And if it is, then there are certain rules for thoroughfare.
either it's open or it's not open?
Yes, it is, and that's gonna put that ditch in an altogether different category of requirements for
'Cause I
safety.
guarantee between 6:30 in the morning and 8:30, would you say there are 100 cars that use that
Easy.
private drive?
100 an hour, yeah.
That's not a private drive.
It's treated as a street. I
is.
don't know what it is,
The
but
fact that it's not taken care of as a street, and B, that open ditch, like I said, I'd hate to think we're gonna call a meeting tomorrow or later, because somebody's driven off and down into that ditch, and we're gonna sit here and looking pretty silly. Something's gotta be done to address it. We gotta be proactive.
amen.
We can, I'll bring it up again at the staff meeting and see if there's anything that,
Because if it's a private drive, then it needs to close down at 9 o'clock at night. And somebody open it up,
oh, it's how we used to do it, yeah.
and somebody opens and closes it. But if we're gonna leave it open as a road, well, then we need to treat it as a road.
And different money takes care of it, and rules apply.
It's, because it's getting in worse shape all the time.
It's gone to third world
I mean, the
status.
edges are starting to crumble off. And it's bad.
That was, yeah, from, most of it from hauling the material out of the ditch.
You're right, yeah, you're
it's
right,
really-
Eric.
That's the way they went out. They came in empty on the backside and went out full on that side
That's right, yeah.
and tore it up, so.
All right, well, we're kind of having a general conversation. Couple of things for me real quick. Eric, I brought this up to you, but we need to get a letter to Fall Creek Little League about the posting of advertising on the large baseball field up here. They have advertising signs. They're all reputable, but still, this is how we've kind of, forever, when organizations seem to think they can act on their own, I thought originally we say it could be cleared through your office, but
Yeah.
after our conversation, you said you received nothing from Fall Creek.
Yep, I agree.
I mean, remember, it's like when they had their rules, they posted out there, great.
Well, they still got those rules out.
Yeah,
We don't survive without our volunteers, but, the previous administration had said, these are the public's park. I like to see us do things to make sure we're following, and it's not very rough bureaucratic step, just inform us who you're going to have advertising signs up.
With that,
I'm sure Mr. Denny, the school board is aware who's advertising on the sides of our building and all that
Not
happy
supposed
stuff.
to.
Any other questions? Eric, anything exciting from the budget so far? I was perusing it. Nothing seems to be eye-catching.
no, we
the
should be
general
in
fund.
pretty good shape, actually. We're just now getting into our busy season.
Right.
We do have a full complement of seasonal kids, at least for the next week or so. We've got 3 kids from Mount Vernon School System. That's 2 of them are going to the military, one's going to Ball State, so they'll all be gone by August, I think. But
You have young Connor,
We've
who's
got
a
2 young
regionally
Connors
married
still, and
he's
they're,
student taught at LN. It's hard to believe that he's that old.
but he found a full-time job. He'll be
Yeah.
leaving here in the next week or two. So.
He's old enough. Great kid. He's 22 and I'm calling him a kid. Jeez. Anything non-reverting that sticks out?
No, but we are pretty accurate on our funding source, so that's good. We're actually bringing a little bit more in on our programming side with our dance groups and different things at the Starrett Center and the
Softball happening.
softballs, it's all, yeah, it's just about done. Finally, he finally got started and now it's just about over, so we'll be doing, this summer ball here pretty soon, so.
Mr. President, I noticed that in the grant application, it said something about $75,000 from the city operations. Not that we couldn't come up with $75,000 from the whole city, but out of our budget, that would be significant. So, we'd,
I was gonna say, when we chat, I'd like to have somebody from either the comptroller or somebody, is there a appointed person on the city council for, I know they have some, this is something that council, who's our council parks person? Wheeler, council,
Yeah, I think, well, maybe it might have changed. Becky Parker might be,
I mean, that's a person that needs to be in on the conversation too, because I agree with you there, Mr. Tom, is that we need, $75,000 in a city budget's not a lot, but if they are earmarking us,
yeah, just seeing how it all fits together. 'Cause we'll probably lose some rental money, I suppose.
I would suppose, but,
I mean, I don't want to get into a big hassle about that, but I just want to make sure that
I'm guessing they're
they
gonna
take that into
keep it.
consideration.
I was sitting here running through some cost sharing, revenue sharing between
Yeah,
us
right.
and them during the presentation.
Yeah, just to kind of
Yeah,
raise those questions and make sure
Yep.
everybody's aware of it, I think.
good observation. All right, Eric, and we'll,
Are we down to,
we're not, anyone else?
are we still from the park?
Oh, yeah, we're
director?
conversing
Is
here.
the parks director done? I don't want
I know,
to
we
infringe on his
never-
time.
no, I'm,
Anything else, Kyle?
Yeah, I do.
Go ahead, that's, yeah.
The sign that in front of, on Franklin Road that you took down, that was good.
Yes,
That was, that was addition by subtraction, I think.
yeah. And, it's easy for me to get up there and tear stuff down with the backhoe, so that was my afternoon.
No, you-
But we're going to, hopefully next week, paint that sign, sandblast it, paint it.
The entrance,
Yeah,
I went over, you might have noticed when the things were cut, and I was gonna tell you, I noticed you pulled out everything, but it is so rotten at
on
the
the
top.
top, yeah. I'm not,
I was gonna paint it just to whitewash it for the
Clean it up
4th of
a little
July.
bit, yeah.
But it's so rotten at the top, the big bolts, the anchor bolts.
Are
the
just there?
logs that go- You could reach up, I pulled one out. I mean, I thought, well, how loose is that? And it came all the way out through that 10 by 10.
so
He
we'll,
looks around, but
so we'll probably have to cap that with something, treated lumber or something, just to, I noticed the same thing. The bottom of it's pretty good shape, but that top is rotted
That's
out.
to follow up on that, just, have we cleaned up a bit around the flagpole there at the main park that we've talked about?
I don't think we got the flagpole. We have solved the peace circles.
Okay.
I'm just gonna get some dirt and put,
Well, and I agree, I was just thinking, if we get closer to the 4th
Yeah.
type, and that's what I,
Did you remove that peace circle?
wars are starting.
Did you talk to Darren about that, or? did
I
you-
sent him an email and he never did respond to me, so,
So I talked to his sister, and
okay.
he talked to him, I know, so,
We've got all the bricks back there.
Okay.
shot.
okay, well, I'll see if I can communicate that to her, maybe.
Okay. I hate to
Bricks
just,
back.
Rip it up, but,
well, it was already ripped up. We just.
yeah, I was going to say,
Yeah, that was good.
mine was inevitable.
Along with the entrance there on Franklin Road, is there anything we can do about the parking lot? It really is in pretty bad shape. And we're right there at the entrance. Yeah, in the middle entrance,
Yeah,
where the signs are.
yeah,
That looks pretty,
It's woolly.
yeah.
yeah. I don't know, maybe it's, maybe we just have to wait till we get enough money to pave the whole thing.
Well, the whole thing needs to be paved,
Yeah,
yeah.
it does, but that, particularly when people are coming into the park, doesn't look too good. Let's see. Another thing on the at Lee Road Park,
Uh-huh.
the dead trees, I mean,
We're
the thing I'd be concerned about is, you know, kids are playing out there and
Yeah.
a limb falls off and, you know, that kind of thing.
It's, yeah, I hate to think that we'll have to, I know, State Park has got a contractor coming in to take down a bunch of their stuff. I hate to do that, but that might be an alternative.
Decided, because like I said, it's another
At
one of
least
those.
those that are against the right of way and,
And the ones that are close to the,
There's a whole line of them.
well, they're all, yeah,
yeah, the one closest to the playground and the
Yeah.
shelter house.
It's another one of those, I'd rather be
Yeah,
proactive.
That's what I would be concerned about. 'Cause that woman, Avon, got killed by,
Yeah.
that's the closest I ever came to getting killed was by a
A tree.
Yeah. Mine too.
limb falling off.
What is it, Widowmaker?
Sunny day.
We've lost a lot of trees out of community park.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, you're taking a lot out of,
And we've taken a lot, that's just the sheer fact that we're, you know, the maintenance guys are there and they can go out and cut a few down in the afternoon or something and it's, but yeah, no, we've, again, we've got that might be a good summer project for those.
Just don't want to, like I said, it's kind of like that ditch. I don't want to wait till that something bad has happened. We
yeah,
gotta- we
I
should've
didn't
done it.
look, doesn't look like there's anything ready to fall off,
Okay.
but, you know,
Okay.
they are dead.
Yeah.
So,
No, those can, and they can break off anytime.
yeah, yeah. On the ice, did we get that straightened out?
Yes, the agreement was signed by somebody with FC Pride. They're receiving 20% of the sales back to FC Pride.
And you know, again, that's subcontracting.
Yes, and I think we need to invite them in before they sign those agreements. But
Yep.
from my understanding, that was one that Patty Regis had already drawn up for Northeast Youth Soccer and
And in violation of her agreement, though.
so FC Pride just picked it.
Continues to violate the agreement. Okay.
Yeah.
You're violating the agreement.
Well, and we don't have one with FC Pride this year yet.
And that's where I was going. Anything else, gentlemen?
Nope.
Okay, what about our Starrett Center remodel?
We have, I have issued the PO for concept design, Compass Design, I'm sorry. That's the young lady that came in and gave us all the color samples and everything. And then we're using her services actually to do the main floor at the community center, or at the Starrett Center, the big floor. Her subcontractor, so we just went through her, and she's gonna hire a subcontractor to do that. So they do the hardwood floor. She's got a subcontractor that's going to do the wallpapering in just the big room. We're just looking at a couple walls of wallpapering to see if we can cut down on people putting stick pins in and stuff. It won't show as badly as it does on drywall. We've ordered some furniture, some new couches and things and new lighting for the foyer room. So some of it will be done through her part of the agreement's $27,000.
Okay.
The rest of it falls on, right now I've got a quote from Swingle Services, LLC. I don't know if most, Greg Swingle was a Lawrence police officer, retired. It's actually his two boys that run it, Ryan. And they're the ones that did the tile work at Gen Park Forest.
Okay.
They do a good job. We do have to stay on them, especially working at Starrett Center, because we'll have
Still being used.
will still be, yeah, utilizing it. So they've got to work throughout the week or
Now, when are they
Nice.
commencing?
as soon as I give them the letter to proceed. Again, Compass Design, we've already issued the PO,
Okay.
so that's in essence a letter to proceed there. But Swingles combined, this includes the purchase of the flooring, which is nearly, just a little over 20,000, and then 34,000 for their labor to do painting, drywall, floor demo, install the new floor. We're removing the water fountain in the big room, just
Okay.
just some general, and then install the lighting and so
Be done by fallish?
I'm hoping we can get them in there. They're done in 6 to 8 weeks.
Okay.
Mr. President,
Sir?
I know we can't wait on this, but in the grant application, they've got $240,000 for improvements at the Starrett Center. Do we have $240,000 worth of work?
Oh, gosh,
in
yes.
this? I assumed we did.
Well, and we had that in our thought process. If we receive anything, that'll be all HVAC.
It's kind of like,
Okay, that probably equals
System's over
that.
there,
Okay.
22 years old, and it's starting to
and
have
that,
some failure, so,
and that was an upgrade from when it was a military facility, right?
yeah.
Wow.
What you're describing wouldn't be torn out on the new, when the new grant, if it were approved, the Lilly grant was approved, you're not double doing, having to
no,
double work
no,
or anything. So
no.
that, I think that's
It'll
what
add on.
all of us were thinking at the same time. It's additional work, okay.
No, everything that we included in the Lilly grant was all primarily
Infrastructure.
HVAC stuff. yeah.
Okay.
Separate
Yeah.
items.
Yeah, they've
Okay.
got other things in there.
I had a comment about something, when we had mentioned about our Parks Department keeping an office there. If you're gonna, getting money in, you're gonna revitalize the inside, remodel. I would again say you should seriously consider moving to the other end.
We,
That, or put a separate entrance at the end you're using now. But it makes, I think logistically, it works better for our parks headquarters to have a separate entrance for,
Just
we
for
have
that
park
business,
business. We
right.
have park business going on.
You're right.
You still have a business, you still have a private office in the back that's similar to what you use now, but that front would be available for the public to come and go and create park business. And the other room where you occupy now to be utilized by the people that are renting the,
and that would be a pretty easy swap, primarily
you
just.
find it's more usable for.
Oh, yeah, but again,
You have to deal with all those windows, and I remember being in that room, those windows need some attention, but
Bruce didn't mention, but they've already received a smaller Lilly grant for 25,000, I think, that they're working on the patio between
Between the two? That's,
between the
I was
two.
thinking.
So that
Okay.
that would help move people to the front of the building also, so.
Okay.
I know it'd put you closer to their
Yeah.
business, but it'll be more usable for the overall rental of our facility, whether it's rented through the Parks Department or through them, but because you'll have a separate entrance for people doing park business
Exactly.
from the outside, then you won't have to interrupt any activity that's already going on.
That makes sense.
That does make good sense, Judy.
Very good.
All right. Eric, do you have an update on our land and water conservation fund?
Well, again, the last meeting, I said that it was kind of a shot in the dark and that primarily the administration didn't want to work with the grant, with the easement, or with the grant designer on that, the Keyser
Right.
company. But it was the point where the Reuse Authority already paid Keyser for the
Okay.
design work and for the application process, so that had already been paid for, so in essence, it was, if, you know, city didn't have a problem filing for $200,000 if, so the administration did sign the grant. We don't know if it'll be funded. If it'll be funded, then we'll go back to the discussion with the Reuse Authority, because that property would have to become owned by the city of Lawrence.
Which property are we talking about?
The Civic Plaza,
Right, that's right.
where the,
Okay.
right at the forts.
Right,
there
right.
it is now.
What would we do with the money then? What would the 200?
That money would be issued and would be in the, there's a design phase, design a more usable space there, public restrooms and.
Right.
and, a small stage area and just more of a,
It would be more permanent.
yes, yeah. And so the Reuse Authority, thinking about whether they can obtain this Land and Water Conservation Fund, asked for us to apply for it. So if it is funded,
They can do
the
it.
city was gonna probably have the property anyways.
Right.
So this just kind of pushes it onto us.
And the process had already been started anyway.
Yeah, and
Okay.
part of that process too is funding is through the Arts for Lawrence too. They do a lot of the programming there too, so it's kind of on that same vein.
Okay.
That was due on the 1st, so we'll see if,
And will you find out by,
they generally let us know by latter part of July,
Okay.
1st of August, 60 days or so.
got it.
On the Lilly grant, did anybody say when we would know about that?
They will know something by the end of 2018,
Okay.
winter of 2018, so.
Yeah, it goes boom, boom.
Because that would tie into whatever you do with that space.
Oh,
Civic
yeah.
Plaza pays.
Correct, yeah, if it's,
It's all kind of got to fit together.
Perfect storm, everybody gets funded, and then
That'd be nice. That'd be.
everybody
quite
puts
an
their
upset, wouldn't it?
heads together and figure out what we're gonna do.
That'd be a good problem to have.
Yes. All right, anything else, colleagues?
Yeah, I want to ask about the trail and sidewalk study. Where is that?
my understanding I don't know if it's been voted on by I think it's tomorrow, by the Board of Public Works will
Okay,
vote on, will approve
right.
that plan.
It's,
And I was telling Jeff earlier, it's just that, so when the city looks to do road improvement, that trail, that master plan will be part of the overall road construction process. Or if funds become available,
Can then be prioritized.
and again, and those improvements are prioritized also.
okay, good. Long-term process.
Yeah, and all of them look like feasible
Yeah, that
developments
didn't
too.
seem, didn't seem like anything spectacular.
When you look at it overall, there's just a lot of small connections that.
Right.
Yep.
You know that from your
I know
daily
that.
walks, what,
Yeah.
you could,
All of a sudden, you're at the end of the line, you're going,
how do I get back?
Yep.
I don't know how this ends. All right, folks, anything else? All righty, if Eric and I could possibly get get us something, what you think of, should go into that MOU and your thoughts, and, maybe we could expedite that, but give us your thoughts, and after we meet with Judy, we'll share back with you where we're at with it.
Follow the money.
Follow the money, man, yeah, good
That's,
lord.
if you can make that come out right, wow, it's a good idea.
Oh, you're not a
Great
kid.
idea.
All right, folks, that being it, there you go.
All right.